Welcome back to the Deep Dive. And you know the drill. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely don't forget that notification bell
Oh, definitely.
so we can keep bringing you these deep dives.
That's right.
Today, we're going deep into India's water resources,
It's a big one.
a crucial topic for UPSC aspirants,
Absolutely.
students.
Of course.
Really, anyone wanting to understand India, right?
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't need water? It's essential.
Absolutely. We've been digging through research papers, government reports,
All the good stuff.
even historical accounts. It's
There's
amazing.
a real treasure trove of information out there.
And today's mission,
Lay it all out.
the key takeaways,
Yeah.
especially for anyone tackling the human and economic geography section of the UPSC exam.
That's our focus today.
So let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
What makes this topic fascinating?
To me,
Yeah.
it's the paradoxes. India, we get a ton of rain.
We do.
Average rainfall, 1,170 millimeters a year, which is
Wow.
a massive amount. 4,000 billion cubic meters of water.
Wow.
You'd think, right, we'd be drowning in it.
You would. Plenty of water for everyone.
Right. But, and here's the thing,
Here's the catch.
big difference between getting rainfall and actually using it.
Effectively, right.
Yeah, effectively.
Like finding it, storing it,
Exactly.
making sure it gets where it needs to go.
That's the challenge.
So even with all that rain,
Abundant rain.
only about 60% is usable
Yeah.
because of all these challenges.
For various challenges.
So, okay, let's unpack this, right? Starting with sources.
Yeah. Sources of water in India.
What are the major ones?
Okay, broadly, two categories. We got surface water
Yeah.
and groundwater.
Okay.
Surface water, that's all the stuff we see.
Yeah, the visible stuff.
Rivers, lakes, reservoirs, the Ganges,
Mighty Ganges,
the Brahmaputra.
fed by those Himalayan glaciers.
Exactly. And all the countless other rivers all over.
Crisscrossing the country.
Exactly.
Beautiful. And then you got groundwater.
Groundwater, the hidden treasure.
Yeah, under the surface.
Wells, bore wells.
That's how we tap into it.
Yep.
So surface, the dramatic stuff we see.
Yeah.
Groundwater, the
In the
hidden.
garden, yeah.
But you mentioned we can only use about 60% of all this.
60%, yeah.
What's stopping us from using the rest?
Lots of things. One of the biggest is just where the water is,
Geography.
geographical variation.
Right.
Some areas, like the Gangetic Plains, they've got places.
Maya water.
Then you've got places like Rajasthan,
Yeah.
Maharashtra, parts of Maharashtra,
Right. Area.
facing scarcity.
Constant scarcity.
It's almost like, one room's got a feast, the
Yeah.
other's got a drought.
Or else, yeah.
It's very uneven.
And then there's the challenge of, catching all that monsoon rain?
Yeah, especially in the Himalayas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Over 90% of the flow in the Himalayan rivers,
It all happens in the monsoon.
it's just 4 months. It's like a flash flood
You can't contain it.
in a bucket. Storage, distribution, nightmare.
We can't just build dams everywhere, can we?
Well, we do have dams,
Yeah.
over 5,000 major and medium dams.
Wow.
They're super important for storage, hydropower.
They are?
But obviously, they come with their own issues.
Yeah,
Environment, communities get displaced.
It's complicated.
That's so complex.
So uneven distribution.
Yeah.
Monsoons hard to catch.
Yeah.
Dams are complex.
Yeah.
What about groundwater?
Groundwater, that's the lifeline for so many.
Especially for agriculture, right?
Oh, absolutely. More than half of India's irrigation
Relies on it.
depends on groundwater. Think about it. Millions of farmers
Yeah.
drawing water from the earth to grow the food we eat.
It's essential.
It is.
But I keep hearing about over-extraction,
Yeah, that's a huge concern.
depleting the groundwater.
Especially in areas with intensive agriculture. Punjab,
Punjab,
Haryana, parts of Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu.
It's like taking money out of your bank account.
Without putting any back in,
No deposits, just withdrawals.
Yeah.
Eventually,
it runs dry.
it's gone.
And that's what's happening to our aquifers.
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah.
So we got to balance
Yeah, yeah.
using the groundwater,
Mhm.
making sure it lasts.
For a future, yeah.
It's tricky.
It is.
And to understand how bad the water scarcity is,
Yeah.
we need to know how much water per person. Right.
Per capita.
Yeah, exactly.
And for that, we use something called the Falkenmark Index.
Falkenmark Index.
It tells us how much water each person has access to.
In a certain region.
Right.
So the lower the index,
The worse the scarcity.
more stressed for water.
Stress. Yeah,
And India's population keeps growing.
it does.
Per capita, water availability shrinking.
Yeah,
We're in a water stress condition, they call it.
that's the term, yeah.
Uneven distribution,
Mm-hmm.
capturing rains
There's
hard,
difficult, yeah.
over-extraction,
Yeah.
growing population.
Mm-hmm.
A lot on our plate.
It's a challenge.
So let's talk about how water is used in India.
The big picture.
Yeah,
The big picture.
it's kind of eye-opening. The
Okay.
breakdown. Agriculture.
Which we talked about.
Dominant force.
Yeah.
89% of surface water.
Wow.
92% of groundwater
92%.
gone to agriculture.
It's a lot.
It highlights how crucial efficient irrigation is.
It does.
Every drop counts.
It does, especially when it comes to feeding so many people.
Absolutely.
So making agriculture more efficient is key.
Key, yeah. It really does. The industrial sector, by comparison, they only use a tiny
You
amount.
get 2% of surface water?
2% surface, 5% groundwater.
Wow. Compared to agriculture's 90-something.
Yeah, huge difference.
So, yeah, efficient irrigation, it's got to be a top priority.
Absolutely.
But even with that, there's always the elephant in the room. Right?
Climate change.
Yeah, climate change. That throws a wrench in everything.
Right.
It's a game changer. It's messing with rainfall patterns, making the monsoons unpredictable.
Yeah, that's scary for farmers who depend on those predictable rains.
Imagine one year you get rain at the right time, the next year it's late, or it comes all at once and floods everything.
Devastating. And it's not just the rainfall, right? Climate change is affecting the Himalayan glaciers, too.
Oh, absolutely. Those glaciers are like giant freezers, storing water, slowly releasing it into the rivers.
Feeding the rivers year-round.
Yeah, but they're melting faster because of global warming. So we could end up with less water in the rivers in the long run.
Which means less water for everything, agriculture, drinking water, everything.
Everything, yeah. It's a chain reaction.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
And the consequences are pretty serious if we don't get a handle on this.
Imagine a future where there just isn't enough water. Food shortages, economies collapsing, even wars over water.
Nobody wants that. So
Yeah.
let's talk solutions. What can we do about this water crisis?
Well, there's no one magic bullet, right? We need a multi-pronged approach, tackling both supply and demand.
Okay, so like increasing supply and reducing demand.
Exactly. On the supply side, one thing is rainwater harvesting, capturing the rain before it runs off.
Makes sense.
In cities, you could have rooftops collecting rainwater.
Use it for like non-drinking stuff, right?
Yeah, gardening, washing, takes the pressure off the city water supply.
It's like every house becomes its own mini water tank.
Exactly.
What about recharging the aquifers, those underground water sources that are getting depleted?
Yeah, there are ways to do that. Artificial groundwater recharge, like
Yeah.
making deposits into that bank account we talked about.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You build structures that slow the rainwater down, let it soak into the ground.
Replenishing the aquifers. Okay, so we're capturing rain,
Yeah.
helping it get back underground.
Right.
What about the demand side? Using less water, especially in agriculture, which is the biggest user,
That's where those efficient irrigation techniques come in.
like drip irrigation, right?
get drip irrigation, yeah, delivering water directly to the roots, no waste.
Instead of just flooding the whole field.
Exactly.
And there are those high-tech sprinkler systems, too.
Oh yeah, computerized, they figure out how much water each plant needs based on the weather and all that.
That's cool. Less waste, more efficient.
Much more efficient.
Beyond irrigation, what about just conserving water in general in our homes and cities?
Oh, there's so much we can do. Fix those leaky faucets, use water-efficient appliances, even reuse the water from our washing machines for watering the plants.
Gray water, yeah, small changes can add up.
Absolutely.
Now, besides individuals and technology, what's the government doing to tackle this crisis?
Well, the government has actually stepped up their game. They've got a whole ministry now just for water.
Really?
Yeah, the Jal Shakti ministry.
Kal Shakti, okay.
It brings all the water stuff under one umbrella.
Makes sense.
So it's more coordinated.
So what are they actually doing, this ministry? What initiatives are they working on?
Well, one of the big ones is the Jal Shakti Abhiyan.
Okay, Jal Shakti Abhiyan.
It's all about getting communities involved, managing water at the local level.
That's interesting, getting people involved.
Yeah, like village councils working together, restoring old ponds, cleaning up streams, setting up rainwater harvesting systems.
It's empowering people, making them responsible.
Exactly.
What other programs are making a difference?
Another big one is the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, or PMKSY for short.
PMKSY. Okay.
This one's all about improving water efficiency in agriculture.
So, like we were talking about, drip irrigation, all that.
Yeah, and also building water harvesting structures, canals, pipelines, making sure water reaches every farm, but without wasting it.
Smart infrastructure.
Yeah.
Any programs specifically focused on groundwater?
Yep, there's the Atal Bhujal Yojana.
Atal Vijay Yojana.
It's all about managing groundwater sustainably, and again, it's got a big emphasis on community involvement.
Because the people living there, they know the land best.
They do. It's about combining science with local knowledge
I like that.
to find the best solutions.
It makes sense.
It does. And these are just the national programs. Each state has its own initiatives, too, depending on their needs.
So lots of efforts underway on different levels.
Definitely.
But let's not forget about India's traditional water conservation practices.
Ah, yes. The wisdom of our ancestors.
Centuries of experience.
They were amazing. They knew so much about water, about local conditions, the soil, the rainfall patterns.
They really understood how precious water is.
They did. And that's reflected in all the different water harvesting and management systems they developed all across India.
It's fascinating to think about. These ancient systems still relevant today.
They are. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore some of those systems in more detail. The step wells of Rajasthan, the tank systems of South India.
Amazing stuff. Welcome back to the deep dive. It's pretty cool to think that even today, we can still learn so much from how people managed water, like centuries ago.
Yeah, it's not just the engineering. It's like their whole culture was built around respecting water.
It's like a different way of thinking.
Yeah, a different relationship with water.
Okay, so give us some, I'm really curious about those step wells you mentioned.
The ones in Rajasthan.
Yeah.
Imagine this. You're walking in the desert, it's hot,
Scorching.
and suddenly you come across these stairs carved into the earth, leading down, down, down to this pool of water at the bottom.
Wow.
That's a step well, a baoli.
Like an oasis.
Yeah. And they're not just functional, they're beautiful. Sculptures, intricate carvings.
It's like they turned a well into an art project.
They did. And it's not just about storing water. These step wells, they created a cool, shaded space for people to gather, escape the heat.
Like a community center built around water.
Exactly.
That's amazing. What other systems were there?
Well, down south in Tamil Nadu, they had the Erie system,
Urea
a
wells.
whole network of tanks connected,
Wow.
strategically placed to catch rainwater, recharge the groundwater.
Keeps it all balanced.
Exactly. And they prevented soil erosion, even provided habitats for fish and stuff.
It's like a whole ecosystem designed around these tanks.
Yeah, they thought about everything.
What about in the mountains? Like the Himalayas?
Oh, up there they had pools.
Cool's okay.
Imagine these channels carved into the mountainsides,
Wow.
carrying water down from the glaciers.
Using gravity, right?
Gravity-fed irrigation. Pretty impressive engineering.
It's incredible what they could do without modern tools.
Yeah, they had to be resourceful.
So each region had its own system adapted to the environment,
Yeah, but they all had that same respect for water.
that connection to nature.
Yeah.
What about the Northeast with all that rain?
Nagaland, they practiced something called Zabo.
Thabo, okay?
They built terraces on the hillsides.
Like steps.
Yeah, kind of. To
Oh.
catch the rainwater.
So it wouldn't just run off.
Exactly. And they'd plant trees on the terraces, build little ponds, so the water could slowly soak in.
Recharge the groundwater and prevent erosion.
Yeah, two birds with one stone.
So many different systems,
Mhm.
but all with that same underlying principle, respect for water.
That's it.
It's pretty inspiring, actually.
It is. And even though these traditional systems might not solve all our problems today,
They can't do everything.
there's still so much we can learn from them.
Like what?
Well, we can use modern technology to make them even better, you know?
Like a fusion of old and new
Exactly. Like using satellites and computers to map the aquifers.
to see where they need help?
Yeah. And weather forecasting to plan irrigation so we don't waste water.
Using data to be more efficient.
Exactly. And even things like social media to spread awareness about water conservation.
Getting the word out.
Yeah. It's all about combining the best of both worlds.
It's about creating a new water culture
A culture where everyone understands how important water is.
and how to use it wisely.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive.
It has. We covered a lot.
We did. The challenges, the solutions,
The history.
the incredible ingenuity of those traditional systems.
It's fascinating stuff.
For anyone studying for the UPSC exams,
Especially those geography sections.
it's not just about memorizing facts.
It's about understanding the big picture, how
Yeah.
everything's connected.
Exactly. Geography, economics, society, the environment.
It all ties together.
And for everyone else, hopefully, This deep dive has given you a new appreciation for water,
How precious it is
how important it is to conserve it.
for ourselves and for future generations.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
We'll see you next time.